Salutations! We have 2 missions left before the end of the Cassino campaign. Sad times. So, we are getting shredded by anti-aircraft fire. But we are the Poles! The Polish people! The reason that the war was started. Holy balls! Bail, jump out of the plane, please. There we go. So yes, we are the Poles. We are the reason that this war started. And I am somehow still alive. Wilson Ward. So yes, welcome back, lads, to more Easy Red 2. 2 missions left before the end. And I am an RAF pilot who is slightly now misplaced. But oh well, we are still alive. We have ourselves a revolver. And we should probably figure out how to respawn. Man, Poles are like fucking mountain goats. What a Chad. There we go. So yes, we are carrying on as the Poles. Now the Poles were interesting actually. I don't know too much about the Poles later in the war. As I said, I know they were in Italy. I know of the Polish paratroopers that were in Arnhem. Oh, is that the cathedral? What's a cathedral? Monte Cassino. Oh shit, is that my other... That's my other pilot. Mate, it's you. You survived as well. Good on you, mate. The Abbey. The Monte Cassino Abbey. Which is what we were all fighting over. That in the town. Well, my other pilot survived. The rear gunner. Good on him. Alright. Well, this is going to be incredibly riveting for you. But, yeah, carry on. Yep, that was the other guy. He survived. Both of us survived. And we were able to regroup. And now we shall actually join the Poles properly. Poor Poles, we're mounting a frontal assault on fucking trenches. Not the best thing in the world. But yes, as I said, I know of the Polish Parachute Brigade at Arnhem. I know of the Poles that were in Italy, but that's about it really. I mean, there was the Polish Free Air Force and the Polish Navy, mainly using old destroyers. So they were around a little bit, but just not really as ubiquitous or as well known as, say, the Free French or anyone else. But they fought bloody hard. Now, I do have to say, it would be cool to have a 1939 Polish campaign, actually. Mainly because I want to play with the Polish BAR and all the interesting Polish guns. For example, the Polish anti-tank rifle was fascinating because it had a massively long barrel. It still had an 8mm projectile, but it had a 107mm case. And the idea was it would just punch and cause armor to break off the inside, and that would be what would cause the damage into the tank. It wasn't exactly designed as a, the bullet directly punches through the tank armor situation. So it was quite fascinating. Right. Grenade into the trench. Alright. Nicely done. Okay, we're still alive, lads. Fuck off, Luftwaffe. Right, reload. Always reload, chaps. But yes, the Polish had their anti-tank rifle. They had their own version of the K98 Mauser. They had the PAR, their own version of the Browning automatic rifle. Now that was quite interesting, their version of the PAR. There's a couple of New Zealand and private collectors markets. I have sort of messed around with one. But pistol grip, 8mm Mauser, 20 round box magazine, a better bipod. As I said, it follows the tradition of all European versions of the Browning automatic rifle being superior to the American versions. One of those things, I suppose. Damn, we are just getting shredded. There is no bloody cover. There is no concealment. Right, grenade. We need some artillery support or tanks or something. We're just pinned down. But yes, and it was actually quite interesting, the Polish version of the BAR, because FN, who had the production rights to make the BAR in Europe, sold the production rights to the Polish government to make their own, but they didn't actually have legal authority to do so from Colt in America, so it caused a massive legal stink. That's what ended up souring, actually, the FN to the Poles. The Poles wouldn't deal or talk to FN anymore after that. Which, when the Poles wanted to adopt the Browning high-power pistol from FN, they refused because of that former incident, and then stole and reverse engineered their own copy. So, yeah, quite interesting. Fuck, I'm getting so many Poles killed you'd think I'm a Soviet officer. Okay, let's try this again. So yeah, number 40. So yes, they had their, as I said, own version of the high power. Well, modified, it became its own thing, but the core basis was high power. They had their BAR. Okay, they had their own version of the Mauser bolt action. They also had their own little tankettes. The Poles were quite a fan of tankettes. Off we go, come on. So yeah, Poles actually had a quite interesting military setup. And then of course after the war it was all Soviet all the time. Though Poland has had some interesting firearms, PM63s and some radoms. But a lot of it is just Soviet. Pissing cornflakes. This is not going very well, is it? Frontal assault against bloody entrenched enemies. Damn it, we're just being pinned down on all sides. This is not going well at all. Alright. Perhaps armored car? Right. Reverse a little bit. HE. Look for muzzle flashes. There we go. Suppressive fire. Short control bursts. Right, first off we need to swap back to high explosive shells. But yeah, Poland, interesting military history, unappreciated. I guess nowadays it's one of the few Western armies that actually could be considered an army in Europe. Alright, let's see. Being a mobile gunnery platform is good actually, because we can sort of use our machine gun. Fuck's sake! Okay, the engine on this little thing is very sensitive. Oh. 40mm shell. Or otherwise known as the 2-pounder. So the 2-pounder or 40mm was the standard British anti-tank gun at the start of World War II. So things like the Matilda tank, the Valentine, had 2-pounders. They didn't actually have high explosive shells from memory. Oh my god. Really? I hit that shitty little wooden board and it's caused a wheel puncture. But yes, they had the 2-pounder anti-tank gun. Didn't have high explosive shells. It was only armor piercing in tanks. So it made it incredibly single purpose. And it was pretty much outclassed as soon as Panzer IVs really came into play. They were still used, but not really. See, that's why something like this armoured car has it, because they would have had spare ones from tanks and manufacturing, and you know, you kind of need to use them somewhere. But considering I'm getting more value out of the machine gun, it kind of shows you the usefulness of the gun itself. Gosh, we really are just mowing down Germans with the machine gun. Watch where you guys are going. Genuinely. Right. Got more Germans coming in. We need to reload. Now, 7.62 machine gun. Now, it wasn't technically 7.62. It would have been a Browning 30 caliber machine gun. That was the primary vehicle. Well, actually, it wasn't, believe it or not, the primary vehicle machine gun of the Brits. The primary vehicle machine gun of the British at the start of the war was actually the Bisa in 8mm, which was a Czechoslovakian design, because the Czechs did take a lot of good designs of the Czechs, for example, the Green Gun, but they took the Czech VZ-37 and turned it into the Bisa tank machine gun. They interestingly kept it throughout the war in 8mm and made their own shells for it, made their own ammunition for it, or used captured German rounds. Now the logic was, the British knew that their 303 cartridge in between the wars, being a rimmed cartridge, was a little bit out of date and not ideally suited for machine guns. Because rimmed rounds, you need to accommodate the rim in magazines, you need to accommodate the rim in belts. You know, with a rimmed cartridge you have to pull the round out of the top belt, put it back in, you know, to the thing. You can't just straight push through with a belt. So the British did know that as early as the First World War. They were experimenting with the 276 round. But by the time of Second World War, they would also come to that conclusion and were debating on replacing 303. They'd never gotten round to it, but it was one of the things they were talking about. So they were keeping the Bisa machine gun in 8mm for the simple reason of they originally thought they were going to be replacing 303 with a... Come on, fire! They thought they were going to be replacing the 303 with... Come on, they were going to replace the 303 with a fucking rimless round. Hurry up, reload and fire. So they were like, they didn't really need to care too much. There we go. Oh my gosh, I really thought I was going to lose there. See, that was a Panzer III. That's the only reason this 40mm gun was actually working. But yes, the Brits thought they were going to replace 303 rimmed with a rimless cartridge, so keep the tank machine gun in a rimless cartridge because it's easier to rebarrel it and rechamber it to whatever the new cartridge would be at a later date. They obviously didn't do that. They kept with 303 until the 7.62x51 NATO round, although the Brits did want 280, and they were experimenting also with 4.85. Because the Brits and the Soviets actually figured out that you don't need a fucking 30 caliber full powered rifle round anymore in modern warfare. But damn it. No, my beloved vehicle. But unfortunately, the Americans, being dickheads, fuck. Where's my buddy? You. Come on, mate. We're getting back to the bloody extraction zone. You and I, we're getting out of here. Come on, mate. I ain't letting you bleed out here. There we go. I saved him. Well done. 18 units. I wonder, do we have anti-tank bazookas, or have we got We've got Piats pointed at tanks, or projectile infantry anti-tank. Now, as I was saying, the Americans were obsessed with having fucking something with the same equivalent ballistic weight, velocity, and power of the 3006 cartridge, refused a smaller intermediate cartridge, and insisted on 7.62x51 NATO, the Brits and the Belgians and everyone else in NATO reluctantly agreed. I think the Belgians agreed because they were under the understanding that it was a bit of a tit for tat. So if the Americans adopted the 7.62 round, they would use the... There we go, I got the 88. They would use the FN FAL rifle. The Americans did not like that or want that, even though they did experiment with FN FALs. They went with the M14 on the assumption that they could just reuse M1 Garand bits to make it. And also the assumption by Americans of we don't want any foreign gun, which is something that the Americans have had as of, you know, sort of World War II-ish era. But the fucking US ordnance have always been a bunch of bastards. Look up the fucking history of the Lewis gun in the US, and the fact they adopted the shitty 1918 Shoshar instead. American ordnance have been a bunch of fuckwits. Damn it! For the longest time. So yeah, no 280 cartridge for the Brits. They got with 7.62x51, and they got their own version of the FNFAL, which was called the L1A1. Now the L1A1 was only semi-automatic rifle. It was no full auto capability because they realized quite quickly that fully automatic fire with a full power rifle cartridge was just not practical. So they kept it to semi-automatic only and then used their light machine guns as compensation instead, you know, to make up for automatic fire. Which they did rechamber Bren guns for the L4 cartridge. I'm pretty sure the Brits made the smart move and went to the FN mag, like everyone else did. Kind of interesting though that the FN mag is essentially a Browning automatic rifle, but with the action turned upside down. One of those things. Right. Yes, we're talking about future. This is currently World War II, and we don't have FN mags. We have Lee Enfield bolt-action rifles, and we are dead. Well done. Right, Henry. You've got, a 1928 Thompson. And we've got the Gangster 4 grip. And we've got stick mags. Neat. Right, we are still assaulting up a hill again, and that was an obviously wasted grenade. Shit. Cover. Okay, we're alive. We're still alive. Okay, good. We've got some cover behind this hill, but we need to get up this hill, so we're going to need to slowly use what cover and concealment we can and move up the rocks. Damn it. 20 rounds really is not enough for a fucking submachine gun, is it? And it's interesting that they, most nations recognized that relatively early that 20 rounds was not good enough for automatic weapons. For example, the 1922 version of the Browning automatic rifle that was wanted to be adopted by the US Cavalry, I think, they recommended a 30 round magazine instead of a 20 round mag. But I think there was some made, but I don't think it was universally adopted. Okay, I haven't got any bandages. I do have a fucking revolver though, and I've got no grenades. Not ideal. Crap. That was kind of the only way that was going to go. The other option would have been to assault the bunker, kill whoever was in there, take their gun, and keep moving. Ooh, I'm medic. I can revive our officer. Sarge! Come with me. Right. Okay. Scissors. We need to cut off the injuries. Alright. Morphine. There you go. Alright. Sarge, good work. I got more shit to do. It's a hard life being a medic. Wait. Are you a fucking... Oh, well, you're dead anyway. You were a German, but you're now dead. I could save you, but, you know. Also, I guess I was a medic. I shouldn't really be carrying a fucking rifle at all, should I? Because I'm pretty sure that's one of those things of you're not allowed to carry a rifle when you are a medical man. Hello. As a pole, I should just shoot you in the head. But if you promise to surrender... There you go. Okay, good. You surrendered. Now stay surrendered. Oh, so many bloody Germans here to save. I don't know, should we be saving Germans? Oh, I guess it does give us prisoners. Well, we got 2 prisoners who can talk. Potentially 3. No! Waldemir was a good man. He fucking saved other people's lives. Fucking Jerry bastard. I think this guy was dead. We're just gonna fucking take your gun. Because this officer is not as nice as his fucking medic was. This officer is more annoyed at his men being killed. Now, classic MP40 and classic Polish officer, well, Polish sergeant, borrowing an MP40 to get the job done. Alright, come on. I don't know any Polish and I'm not going to butcher the language by trying it. Actually, I was watching, I was looking at a video some footage the other day, which did actually have a New Zealand soldier. Damn it! With a MP40. In fact, there was a soldier with a Enfield, and there was also one with a... Oh, we won! Victory for Poland! We were good people. Look, we even took 28 prisoners. We lost shitload more men, though.